Catholic radio is very important in the new evangelization. Simply put, if you have ears, you ought to hear. I think it's appropriate that we're actually discussing this in the Church of St. John the Baptist. You know, who better than to look at in light of Catholic radio? He was the voice crying out in the wilderness to prepare the way of the Lord. And sometimes this life can seem like a wilderness. And if we look at his example, the last great prophets, crying out to those who have ears to hear, you know, how better for us to capture that message and that need, that importance, that call for us to go out and spread the word, prepare the way for the Lord in light of the new evangelization.
So radio is ideal. It's the ideal instrument to catch them when they're traveling or when they're washing their car, when they're working in the garage, when they're in the kitchen preparing a meal, listening to radio and scanning the stations, and they hear something that catches their ear, catches their interest. And Catholic radio is therefore the perfect way to reach the masses with the gospel in a way that we really haven't been so attuned to in modern times. And although the bishops and others are growing in their awareness and the importance of the multimedia approach to evangelization and preaching the gospel, it's still not where it needs to be yet. So Catholic radio is of preeminent importance in the mission of proclaiming the gospel.
I think we need Catholic radio now more than ever. There was a time not too long ago in American culture where there was a great synthesis between the culture at large and Christianity. So the media outlets, they were generally supportive of a Christian outlook, a Christian worldview, and they gave a pretty sympathetic understanding to church-related issues. Our culture has really gotten very far from that, whereas now there's a much stronger contrast between Christianity and the culture at large. And because that contrast exists, I think people now more than ever really need to know what it means to be a Catholic. They really need reasons to believe why we are Catholic. And so I think Catholic radio really helps people to come to a deeper understanding of what the Church believes and teaches. And when they have that deeper understanding of what the Church believes and teaches, then they can be more committed disciples of Christ, more faithful members of the Church, in a world that really does seem to be working against us in so many ways.
To anyone who's listening to this particular video, I'd love to encourage them to be able to help Catholic media in all its forms, because there are people everywhere who need to hear what our church has to say. Everyone in every corner of the world needs to hear. Isn't that what we were commissioned to do? To go out and preach to all the corners of the world, to make them disciples, to baptize, to bring people to Christ. And if there are people out there driving on the road, tuning into the radio, shut-ins who are sitting in and listening to their radio, if there's just regular folks buzzing through the dial and happen to come across one or two precious words that may have the impact to change their very life, or even for that matter change a perspective on something they're struggling with, or maybe to shed light on something that they otherwise may never have seen, well, then thank God for that. And what a great thing to contribute to be a part of something so big, even if it's something small that we can do to contribute.